On today's walk, I'm thinking about the role people play in shaping the character of a wine. Project M, we go on endlessly about people, place, and time. Those are the formative forces that influence every wine. And I think place, everybody understands time as well. But I think people's role has been malaligned over time. And so if we look at the traditional models in Europe, it's all about place. And that the role of the vintner is to reduce himself or herself and have no influence on the wine, that it's purely place. And the problem with that is that we know that in Burgundy, for instance, there might be several producers working with the same plot of land, but we know that they aren't all of equal quality. And is it purely a function of the land? Likely not. That there's a role of the human in that. And so traditionally, there's been a pressure against the role of people in wine in terms of shaping its character. But at the other end, and a more recent pressure, is sort of the natural wine movement that wants to sort of lean up against this is what a wine would taste like as nature intended. And the problem with that is that there's nothing about wine that is naturally occurring. I've never been in a vineyard that wasn't planted in straight lines, and I'm unaware of any natural ecosystem that is planted in straight lines or has posts and wires running through it, or that is meticulously farmed by people. And then we take it into the cellar, it's even more so. Like the wines become more marked by what somebody doesn't do than they do what people do. And so they're no less sort of process driven. And so if you look at some of the, 10 years ago, the conversations around people were that we over extracted, we picked too ripe, we used too much oak. And so there was all these things that humans were doing wrong, that the wines were marked and they didn't reflect the place they came from, assuming that that's the top priority. And that'll be a future rant. But now with the natural wines, these wines are equally marked. They're not marked by oak and extraction and ripeness. They're marked by a series of other things that, again, have no relevance to place per se. And so oftentimes they're marked. There are winemakers who are making wines naturally that aren't subscribing to a style. There'll be some blog posts on this coming up. You can check them out. But my thoughts today really focused around the role of people and how people have been maligned in wine, both historically. It's about place, and then more modernly, more recently, and currently, that wines have to somehow reflect some natural order, which can't be applied to wine because barrels, amphora, steel tanks, these things don't exist in nature. They're not something that happens. You go mushroom hunting, you don't accidentally come across a bottle of Pinot Noir. There is no foraging for wine. There is nothing natural in terms of natural order about it. So, thoughts for today.